Mercury retrograde is the kind of thing, it's like being left-handed, it's like being on your moon time, it's like, being in contemplation in a cave, meditating. It's like dreaming. It's a time when the rational mind is disabled. And I think all of us understand you probably wouldn't be in a course like this if you didn't think that that was an important time. So I think the main problems, this is like just in a nutshell, the main problems with Mercury is when you're trying to hang on to the organization that your rational mind offers. And sometimes we really need that to happen. That's why they say don't sign contracts, don't make plans. You can do that, but you need to leave room for the spontaneity, the synchronous, the magical occurrences. So it's just like tread lightly and be very close to your intuitive process. And, I'll leave that up to Mara in this class, working with the goddesses and the moon energy. And, she's giving you a lot of tools on how to stay close to that. And as women, especially if you are on your moon time, that's a really good time. But just in general, we're such vessels and we're such water creatures that it's actually feels like coming home when we tune into that intuitive self. It doesn't mean that we're not practical and rational. So actually, I think Mercury is a time when things might make a little bit more sense if you let them. So you're giving yourself that space. I want to just explain just one last thing about Mercury retrograde, though. So Mercury retrograde is basically, first of all, Mercury doesn't really go backwards. It only appears to go backwards because of our relationship with the sun. So it just has to do with the speed of the planet, that the way it appears from Earth, that it's going backwards. The planets always just move forward. But since it's about our life and about our perception, we see Mercury going backwards. So this is how Mercury retrograde works. You're driving in your car, you leave your house, you're driving, like, say, 10 miles to go somewhere. So you drive on that road, you're watching everything on the way, you see some things happening. Maybe it doesn't seem that important yet. You get to the spot, you realize you forgot something. So you turn around and you go back those same 10 miles. This is the retrograde period. And you might be like, everything's been disabled. So you have this different perspective. You're more sensitive, you're more vulnerable. And maybe the things you see on that route, that same route you just rode on, really differently. Like something is getting to you. Then you get back home, you pick up the thing you forgot, and then you go back on that road, back over the 10 miles. And now you're really integrating because that's the third time. That's Mercury retrograde. So the way I see it, and I'm going to give you some dates in a second. The way I see it, so the retrograde period is just the period when you turn around and go back. The 2 times going forward are called the shadow period. So for this Mercury retrograde, we were in the shadow period from September 14th to October 4th. Then it's retrograde from October 4th to October 25th. And then the other shadow period, when you catch back up, is from October 25th to November 10th. So that's the whole period. So really, it would be crazy to take all that time off and think it was all bad luck. It's ridiculous. But the way I look at it is, that time is a time when you really need the spirits, the planets, the creator, the source energy, whatever it is, the goddess. I want you to really pay attention to that time. So it's kind of like in hindsight that you really understand why or what was happening. It's kind of hard to figure out while you're in it. So just stay with the flow. So Mercury's been in retrograde 3 times this year. So I think it might be helpful while you're waiting for this time to pass, while you're in your contemplation, to think about the other 2 times, because you might see something. So the first time Mercury was in retrograde this year was February 6th through the 28th. That's just the retrograde period. And there would be a shadow period a week or so before and after. The second time was June 7th through July 2nd. That was kind of a long retrograde, particularly long. And then this time, October 4th through the 25th. And then if you are completely baffled, the good thing about a video, you can watch it a few times and take notes. One of the really magical things I love about astrology is this thing called Sabian symbols. And just like some of you might do the I Ching, there is this couple, it was a love affair in 1925, this couple, Mark Edmund Jones and Elsie Wheeler. 1925. It's a long story. You can look it up on the internet, but they were in love and had all sorts of hardships. And somehow through their spiritual practice, they channeled a little koan for each sign of the zodiac. So if you look up Sabian symbols, it's Sabian symbols, or I can give it to Mara to give to you. You can look up if you know what degree of whatever sign you were born in, you can look that up. But I just want to tell you so each degree, as the planets are moving through, if you divide each sign into 30 degrees, so each day is a degree for your birthdays. I looked up before I came on. I had looked it up before, but I just wanted the perfect language, and so gorgeous. So the period that we are going back and forth, the beginning of Mercury Retrograde was 2nd degree of Scorpio. A delicate bottle of perfume lies broken, releasing its fragrance. A delicate bottle of perfume lies broken, releasing its fragrance. Broken, maybe chaos, but releasing its fragrance. So beautiful, right? And then the end is, after a storm, a boat stands in need of reconstruction. So things are getting, I'm not going to lie to you, things are getting dismantled. I told a client the other day, I feel like their lives are in a Vitamix, or my life too, but a beautiful fragrance is being released. Our minds are being disabled for a reason, because we need to recalibrate, let go of things that don't ring true. We're kind of getting forced to do that. So I'm going to end there. A little bit longer than I planned, but so much love to all of you. You're so lucky to get to work with Mara. And yeah, don't be a stranger. Bye-bye.